Good Sunday morning, everybody. This is Stephen Ray, and I wanted to jump here on social media and let you guys know that there is a flash flooding situation that is going on over a good portion of South Alabama later today and tonight. And the reason is because the National Weather Service down in Mobile has issued a flash flood watch for the following counties down in South Alabama. Now, this includes Clark, Choctaw, Washington, Mobile, Inland Mobile, Central Mobile, Coastal Mobile, and includes the cities of Chatham, Jackson, Alabama, Grove Hill, Alabama, Thomasville, Theodore, Citronelle, Mobile, and Dauphin Island. And this watch goes until 1 a.m. in the morning for the potential of anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of rain possible, with isolated amounts upwards of 6 inches. And this is through 1 a.m. on Monday. For the counties that are there in the blue shaded area, basically from Grove Hill and Kennesaw and points off to the west back into Mississippi. This does include downtown Mobile. However, this does not include any portion of Baldwin County. So if you're watching in Bay Minette, if you're watching in Gulf Shores, Foley, Robertsdale, you guys are not underneath the flash flood watch. It is portions of Mobile, Choctaw, Washington, and Clark counties until 1 a.m. in the morning. For areas of flash flooding possible and likely, some roads flooded or possibly closed, and some structures potentially threatened, and minor river flooding is possible or likely in the orange and blue shaded areas for this afternoon, evening, and overnight through 1 a.m. in the morning. All right, so let me take you over here and show you that there is your expected rainfall over the next 48 hours. And as you can see over here into Choctaw and then getting down here into near Mobile, that orange and red shaded area right there, I can actually zoom in and make this even bigger for you. And as you can see right over here is downtown Mobile, where this orange and red shaded area is over here to the right of your screen. That is getting close to 6 inches of rain between now and the next 48 hours. There is also a batch of 6 inches of rain expected from a line over here from Leakesville, Mississippi, over here into far northern Mobile County. Near the Citronelle area. So once again, areas of 2 to even as much as 6 inches of rain are expected through 1 a.m. And then, of course, that is the expected rainfall over the next 48 hours. Now, if you are watching across the northern portions of the state of Alabama, if you are watching over here towards the Montgomery Metro, the Birmingham Metro, Tuscaloosa, Coleman, Huntsville, you guys are going to see rain, but you're not going to see very much of a flooding threat. This is going to be for far extreme southern Alabama. I do want to also take you over here to the radar real quick. Give me just a second. Popped up the camera. I apologize. All right. We are looking now at radar Omega. And I do want to also mention to you guys that anywhere in this blue box, and this does include the Mobile metro area, there is the potential for later today and tonight of a few brief spin-up tornadoes this afternoon and this evening. We've already had a couple of tornado warnings down here for Port Sulphur, Louisiana, and other ones over here to the west of New Orleans. So this area in the blue box here that does include the Mobile area, and I can actually zoom in here, Bay Minette, and getting over here towards Citronelle, you guys have the potential not only to see rain and flooding later today, but the potential of a few isolated spin up tornadoes, and this does include Satsuma, Saraland, Pritchard, Mobile, Bay Minette, and places just off to the south there of the Jackson area in Alabama, and south of Grove Hill, over just south of the Millery area as well. So once again, if you are down here in this area, there's going to be a lot of flooding later on today, and then there's also going to be the potential of a few isolated spin up tornadoes that we're going to have to keep our eye on. And unfortunately, the bad news is that the National Weather Service Mobile radar is out for maintenance. The tower is offline. So if there is any tornado warnings that are issued by Mobile, they are going to have to use the radar site in New Orleans, or they're going to have to use the one over in Jackson, Mississippi, or Birmingham. Because the Mobile radar site is down right now. But if you are watching me in South Alabama, basically your tornado threat is going to be from just south of the Highway 84 corridor, where Highway 84 intersects 43 right there at Grove Hill and points all the way down to the coast. So if you're watching in Thomasville, if you're watching up here in Linden, if you're watching in Demopolis, if you're watching in Butler, you guys have a very, very, very small threat of seeing a tornado later today and tonight. Your bigger tornado threat, if it does happen, is going to be basically from the Highway 84 corridor in Grove Hill and points off to the south all the way down to Dauphin Island and Mobile. So once again, that is the issue that I wanted to pop here on and let you guys know. And like I said, there have been a couple of tornado warnings earlier back here south of New Orleans, down in the marshes of Louisiana. And I wanted to see if there are anything right now that looks suspicious. And the good news is I'm not seeing anything right now, but like I said, there is a potential for a few spin up tornadoes if you are in this blue shaded box or octagon right here for this afternoon and this evening through the rest of the day today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off here for the Alabama side. If you're watching me in Mississippi, I'm going to do a Mississippi update here very soon. So once again, I will be sitting here watching all of the weather for you guys here in Alabama. And if anything happens to pop up, I will be right back here on social media to let you guys know the latest weather information. Have a great day, and as always, God bless. If you're watching me in Mississippi, stay on. All right, guys, it is coming up on 11:45, and I wanted to jump over here on social media and over here in Mississippi and let you guys know that there is the potential for a few isolated tornadoes later today and tonight if you are across the southern portions of Mississippi. However, the biggest threat is going to be the heavy rainfall that is supposed to fall across the southern and central portions of Mississippi. And this is basically from the areas of Laurel and Ellisville, points all the way down to the south to the coast. And as you can see, over the next 48 hours, we're expected to see anywhere between 2 and 5 inches of rain, with locally or heavier amounts possible. And especially if you were down here near Poplersville, Gulfport, Mississippi, or Biloxi, you guys are expected to see anywhere between 5 and 6 inches of rain between now and the next 48 hours. And the reason that I'm here is because the National Weather Service in New Orleans has issued a flash flood watch for a good portion of Mississippi from east of Macomb that does include Ellisville, Laurel, Hattiesburg, Poplersville, Gulfport, Ocean Springs, and Pascagoula, Mississippi as well, for the potential, like I said, of upwards of 6 inches of rain, flooded roadways, locally heavy rain, and do not cross any barricades that show that flooded roads are closed. That the heavy rain could lead to ponding of low-lying and poor drainage areas, as well as flash flooding in the area that receives the heaviest rainfall. This includes all of coastal Mississippi, as well as southwestern Mississippi and southeastern Mississippi as well through this evening, but it may need to be extended into tomorrow for the flooding potential, and especially for the Pine Belt area of Mississippi. Now, if you're watching up in the Jackson, Mississippi Weather Service county warning area, basically from Brookhaven all the way over to Meridian, Mississippi, and points off to the south, you can expect to see 3 to 6 inches of rain today in a short period of time, with locally or heavier amounts possible. Areas of flash flooding likely. Some roads may be flooded and or possibly closed, and some structures possibly threatened with inundation. And this includes places like Brookhaven, McGee, Soso, Laurel, Ellisville, Wiggins, Mississippi, Leakesville, Purvis, Hattiesburg, and Petal. For this afternoon, this evening, and overnight tonight for 3 to 6 inches of rain. Now, if you are in northern Mississippi, basically from the 2059 corridor and points off to the north, you guys are going to see rain today. However, you're not expected to see any flooding issues other than down there in the Pine Belt area of Mississippi. Now, I want to also, really quick, take you over here to the radar, because there is a potential, and your screen is going to go to black. I do apologize for that. Give me just a second and I will switch over to the radar, because there is also the possibility of a few isolated spin up tornadoes later today and tonight if you live in this blue shaded area. If you live in the blue circle right here that does include Hattiesburg, Vicksburg, Brookhaven, Hattiesburg, Laurel, Ellisville, Gulfport, Biloxi, places like that, you have the potential for a few isolated spin up tornadoes later today and tonight. And I do note that the Weather Service in New Orleans has issued a few tornado warnings earlier for sails that came onshore from the Gulf down here towards the Grand Isle area and the Port Sulphur area. And that batch of storms is no longer severe, but there would be the rotation right there. That prompted those warnings earlier. There are also some other areas of concern. I was watching one just here off to the northeast of the Hattiesburg area, which is going to be this area right in here for the potential of a quick spin up tornado. Now, I do want to mention that there's no formal warnings, there's no formal watches, but the reason that this is here is that there is the potential of a watch possible for the potential of a few spin up tornadoes. Now, the watch issuance is only at a 40%, but there you go right here. The potential for short-lived low-end tornadoes is evident across a broad portion of lower Mississippi Valley and the central Gulf Coast area. A weather watch is not anticipated in the short term, but the area is being monitored for the possibility of a tornado watch, for the potential of a few short-lived low-end tornadoes later today and tonight. So that is why I wanted to jump here and let you know that you need to have a way of receiving warnings. Basically, if you are from the cities of Brookhaven to Collins to Laurel and points off to the south and to the west. If you are watching right now in Macomb, Columbia, Hattiesburg, Laurel, Ellisville, Collins, Wiggins, Poplersville, Bay St. Louis, Gulfport, Biloxi, Pascagoula, Picayune, you're going to need to be able to have a way of receiving warnings throughout the rest of the day for the potential of a few short-lived spin-up tornadoes. Now, I do want to also know that the regionals are going on a little bit further off to the north in Oxford and in Starkville. There is absolutely no tornado threat or flooding threat up that way. Now, here is the current radar situation. It is raining in Starkville, in West Point, and Columbus. There is also a batch of rain about to move into the Oxford, Mississippi area as well. However, none of these storms are severe at the moment. I do not expect them to be severe at all. I think this is going to be just a soaking rain event for the northern portions of Mississippi. The flooding threat is going to be well to the south of Oxford and for Starkville. So those are the good news if you are in either one of those locations right now. So once again, Oxford, there is a batch of rain off to your west. There is also, if you're watching down here in Starkville, there is a batch of rain over you right now with heavier rain in between Louisville and Macon, Mississippi. But once again, the biggest tornado threat, if there is any, is from the cities of Brookhaven to Laurel to Waynesboro and points off to the south. So that is the reason that I wanted to jump here on social media and let you know of the outside risk of a couple of tornado warnings later today and tonight, and the flash flooding threat for later on in South Mississippi. Now, if you're watching in Tuscaloosa, There has been a pretty good amount of rain that has come on through. We are currently in a lull if you're watching over here in West Alabama, but there are more storms that are just here south of York and Livingston that are pushing up towards the Tuscaloosa area. It is also raining very heavily in Meridian, and that needs to be watched for a lot of rain coming over here to Starkville. Now, if I had to guess which of the regionals would be most impacted, it's going to be the one over here in East Mississippi rather than the Oxford one later today. Because everything seems to be shifting a little bit further off to the east rather than the one over there in Oxford. So once again, there is a chance of a brief tornado within this blue area right down in here from basically Biloxi, Gulfport, Pascagoula, Slidell, and points off to the north to a point near Brookhaven, Laurel, and Waynesboro, Mississippi. Everybody else is just going to see rain. Everybody else is just going to see a lot of soaking rain. But if you're down here in the Pine Belt area of Mississippi, any one of these storms is going to have to be monitored for the rest of the day for the potential of a few isolated low end tornadoes. And I'll go ahead and show you this one more time. The potential for short lived low end tornadoes is evident across a broad area of the lower Mississippi Valley and central Gulf Coast areas. A weather watch is not anticipated in the short term, but the area is being monitored, and this does include southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and southwestern Alabama. So that is the situation that we have ongoing right now. I do not see any signs of rotation at the moment, so I'm going to sign off for now. But like I said, in the event that we do have a tornado warning pop up for any county in southern Mississippi, I will be right back here providing severe weather coverage only on Facebook and social media to give you guys a secondary source of seeing information and tornadic information in the event that we do have a couple of brief spin up tornadoes later this afternoon and this evening. So right now, I'm not seeing any signs of anything that looks interesting. So I'm going to sign off. But like I said, I will be back here on social media as needed for the potential of severe weather. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And as always,